Welcome back to the NordVPN Top 6 show. Hit the like buttons, subscribe, and get ready to leave your comments below. Using social media, using the internet is a fun place for the majority of people. But what's really important to remember is to protect yourself at all times. When out and about using public Wi-Fi, maybe when you're at an airport, in a cafe, it's absolutely imperative to protect yourselves against hackers and people that will try to steal your personal data. Public Wi-Fi is very convenient, but it comes at the expense of security. When you're answering emails in your local cafe or absent-mindedly scrolling through social media whilst at an airport, somebody could be tracking and hacking your data. Using NordVPN protects your data whilst you are using other networks. This hides your browsing history, your bank information, and your personal passwords and more. Aside from protecting my data, one of the biggest benefits to me when it comes to using NordVPN is allowing me access to my shows, sporting events, and apps that I subscribe to wherever I am around the world. I have accounts in America with Peacock and other parts of the world to catch up on sport with. But if I'm not in the USA, I'm still able to use NordVPN to connect to my apps and stream the football, stream the movies, and watch my favorite shows. We'll speak about NordVPN a little bit more during the Top 6 show to give you some real insight to the benefits that you can get through using this. But Nord are celebrating their 11th birthday. So firstly, happy birthday to them. But what does this mean for you? Every single one of you that subscribes and signs up to a 2-year plan will receive a mystery gift on top. You have to use my exclusive link, which is in the description below. Now enjoy the rest of the Top 6 show. Hit the like and the share button, as I say, and get ready to put your comments in. They're very valuable to us. And let's do this. Welcome back to the Top 6 show. I didn't have the other overlay off ready. There you go. I was caught slacking watching myself talk. Everyone good? Everybody well? We do have Tom Little with us now as well, joining us, ready for the Merseyside derby. Got a brilliant panel tonight. Neeks is here, fresh from a United win. Igal getting ready for the biggest week of the season for Arsenal so far. As we say, Tom Little ready for the Merseyside derby. Nobbins is joined us after a round of golf this morning, after a brilliant win for Man City. And we can't believe he's actually made it. I can't believe he's actually arrived. But Patrick is here after Spurs took one hell of a beating, one hell of a smashing, one hell of a drubbing at the hands of relegation-threatened Leicester City. We're going to be delving into all those games and much, much more on the NordVPN show today. You can scan that QR code above mine and Neeks' heads as well to sign up now, but more on them a little bit later. Before we go into the first subject, which is been voted for by you, the viewers, as Spurs being smashed, I want to say a big, big congratulations to KJ, who this weekend got engaged to his beautiful fiancée. So we want to say a massive congratulations. Well done to you. It's going to be a brilliant day when you get married. Well done for actually stepping up and doing it and finding yourself a very, very lucky lady. So a big shout out to KJ there and congratulations to him.
My boy.
Just KJ.
Absolutely. Terry, did I watch the Super Bowl on halftime? I watched most of the Super Bowl. I watched a bit of the halftime show. I was making some food when it was on, but yeah, I heard
it was terrible.
You're terrible, mate. You're terrible.
No, it was terrible. They brought Rihanna out there completely pregnant. It was like, you know what? She did an amazing job.
Hang on a minute. Gary, I need to step in here. The NordVPN and the Football Terrace do not endorse the idea of women not being allowed to work when they're pregnant. So we don't endorse that message there.
No, wait.
I'm saying she couldn't put on the performance she would have done.
What do you mean completely pregnant? Was like she could have been half pregnant,
little pregnant.
I'm just saying. I think she would have put on a better show if she was able to move a lot more. That's all I'm saying.
I hear you, but you're just out there. You're still part of that little Canadian mafia that thinks that Weekend did the best ever halftime show, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like Michael Jackson did exist. That's all I'm saying. Do you know what I mean? But there we go. We move on from there. But I did watch bits of it. Afternoon, gentlemen. How about those Chiefs? Is what Chike says here. Yeah, it was a great game. It was a great game. I was watching on ITV for a few different reasons. It was very, very good indeed. But there we go. Lots to delve into tonight, so we're going to jump into it. Make sure like buttons are being smashed over. Let's get this past 1,000 likes while we are live. But Tottenham, the history of the Tottenham, they beat Man City. The fans get a little giddy. Oh, only 4 points behind United. My friend, I did feel sorry for you. I did feel sorry for you individually and my dad. But what the hell happened? How are you getting beaten up by a team that can't score, can't play, can't win?
Yeah, first and foremost, I'd like to say thanks for the viewers. Why did you vote this first? I was hoping to get away, like, scot-free, and then hopefully topics get spoke about and we forget about this game, because I want to forget about it as soon as possible, man. It was such a shambolic, and I was excited going into this game, man. We were riding a good wave, 2 clean sheets in a row, starting to look like there was something there again, and it was just a poor performance from top to bottom. The irony is that we were all screaming for Pedro Porro to start and Emerson Royale to get out of the team, and Porro, just as far as debuts go, that's as bad as they come. It was a really, really bad debut. I felt for the guy. He was just getting torn apart by Maddison and Harvey Barnes, and oh man, where do I start? Perisic played like a bum. Kulusevski's first touch deserted him. There was a time when he actually got a nice ball passed into him in the box. All he had to do was take a first touch and whack it. The first touch, it pinged off him, like almost like Lukaku-esque, and then someone got in front of him. Son, weak on the ball, couldn't hold the ball up. Passing was poor, just like it's been all season. Dyer reverted back to his usual crap self and got ran ragged by Iniacho, who is a guy who has been crap all season, but then when we play him, we make him look like he's a world beater, crazy. Pedro Porro, as I already said, had a really bad debut. As far as debuts go, that's as forgettable as they come, and we just want to get that out of our system soon as. And Fraser Forster looked every inch a backup keeper. He was so slow getting down. He looked like Frankenstein. He was just abysmal. And Nick's laughing at me, but 3 of those goals he should have saved, in my opinion. Who I'm trying to think of the first goal. Yeah, the first goal was Mendy, sensational rocket. No keeper saving that. What a hit, good goal. I was like, cool, 1-1, let's play. And then after that, we just went to pot. James Maddison, nice finish at the near post, but Fraser Forster should be saving that, in my opinion. Third goal just before half time. I'm thinking, okay, 2-1, we go in at half time, we go again in the second half, and then they scored just before half time. Iniacho running at Dyer. Dyer didn't know where to go, left or right, just crap defending. You either send him one way or another. You don't just keep him in the middle. And he literally p-rolled the ball into the corner. And I'm like, how did Fraser Forster not get down and save that? He had like 25 minutes to get down and push it past the post. And then in the second half, I'm thinking, okay, cool, we try and go back, come again.
You still had hope, yeah? 3-1 now, you still had hope.
Yeah, I'm like, obviously I'm thinking we're playing crap, but I'm like, at least just try and get the next goal and you take it from there. I thought the game was done, but at least you're still hanging on to some sort of hope and optimism. And then Harvey Barnes scored, and I thought, cool, game over. Then VAR intervened, and he was offside by like a millimetre. I'm like, ooh, that's harsh, but whatever, and we take it. And then they scored again, and I just thought, fuck this, like, game over, done. And yeah, man, I don't know, man. I don't understand. I don't understand how 11 players can play so badly after such a good performance. I don't understand how Conte can't adjust and make amends. Like, Pedro Porro should have got hooked. I know it's your debut. I know it's a new league and you're new to the team. But if you're having that bad of a stinker, he just looked like he was lost out there. And it happens. Get him out. Get Emerson in. I don't know, man. I don't even know. Terry, you asked me what happened, what went wrong.
Yeah, I mean, those things. I want to throw this stat out there, though. And I do think this is a big part of the problem at Tottenham. Antonio Conte has now led Spurs to more league defeats than AVB did in 3 fewer games. Like Andre Villas-Boas, who was awful for Tottenham, lost less games in more matches than Antonio Conte. There is certainly a disconnect between what Antonio Conte wants and what your team performs on the pitch. And I know I've had a lot of pelters this year from Spurs fans, but the reason I predicted you to miss out on top 4 is because you just don't perform well enough, regularly enough. It's legitimately like every week there's another problem. There's another issue. Like, Nick, what do you think it is with Spurs? Is it the lack of quality of players? Is it the manager and his system, the board, a combination of all 3? Because that wasn't just bad. That was rank.
I want to know from Patrick if it's sustainable. That's a word that he's been throwing out there a lot, challenging people. And then you beat City, you get smacked by Leicester, and you're further behind Man United now than you were. And you're like, I want to know if Patrick understands the definition of sustainable anyway, and what he still thinks about Spurs. I'll give you a moment to think about that before you answer. But
cool.
I don't really want to blame Conte. I don't want to, because he's a great manager. What he's done in his career, he knows how to win. And if he's come to Spurs like other great managers have come, and also failed to, I wouldn't say get the best out of the team, but more get to the heights that the fans want the club to get. I won't say even the club, because maybe the club are very content with just challenging for top 4. But where the fans want to, I have to question the club as a whole rather than even just the manager. But there does come a point where the manager has to take responsibility. There does come a point, because if you give him all the praise like we did last year, and he clawed back Arsenal to get top 4, yes, Man United have been doing well. Newcastle have been doing well. But he came in after Ten Hag. He came in around the same period, maybe even a bit before. Sorry, before Ten Hag. He came in maybe just before or around the same period as Eddie Howe. So the time that he's had with this squad has been either equal to or longer than the rivals for top 4. Yet Newcastle seem to be hitting a bit of a brick wall, and Spurs are unable to capitalize. Man United are getting better and better. Conte, who's supposed to be a world-class manager, how can he not get the best out of the players that's there? And I say the best out of the players that's there because we can talk about not being backed in the market, transfer window, this, etc. But at the start of the season, many people, including myself, looked at this team and said, this is good enough for top 4. And that was taking into account Liverpool and Liverpool being in the top 4. So the fact that Liverpool aren't in the top 4, some people may have had Chelsea in there as well. How can Spurs not capitalize on that and have allowed Newcastle and Manchester United, who most people don't have in the top 4, to go past them despite having a world-class manager for longer periods? So he has to take some blame in that period. And I think at the end of the season, maybe he has to look at himself and say, yeah, you know what, I can't do much more here. Whether that's he blames it on himself or he blames it on the board or the players, that's up to him. But it doesn't seem to be working. I have Spurs still to get top 4, mainly because I think Newcastle are going to continue to fall away as they have in the last 5 or so games. But it ain't based on Spurs performances, I tell you that, because the inconsistency is real.
All I would say about the Conte one, just to defend him briefly, is that his success at Chelsea and his success at Inter Milan was founded on defensive solidity first and foremost, and then you've got that defensive solidity, and then you can crack on in the offensive phase of the game. I know Conte is associated with being a very defensive manager, but Inter Milan, I think his Inter Milan side, which won the title, scored the most goals. So there is clearly an offensive tactic in Conte. And if you think of that, the Chelsea team, which we won the title with in his first season, you had like an informed David Luiz, Azpilicueta, and Cahill when he was good. And then at Inter Milan, you had Skriniar, De Vrij, and Bastoni. And who's he got at Spurs? Romero, yes, good. He's working with Eric Dyer, it's in the name, he's Dyer. He's got Davis, who's a full-back playing at centre-half. He's got Longley on loan, who is Barcelona said he was not good enough for us, so ship him off to Spurs. And Tanganga is another option. I don't really know what his best position is. So just to defend Conte a little bit, he does have to take some blame, 100%. But all I would say about it is that his best teams are founded on defensive solidity, and the personnel at Spurs doesn't really scream that. But maybe that's Conte's fault, because maybe he should have gone out and tried to sign that's
it, Nobis. They spent 60 million on Richarlison, and I like Richarlison, but they spent 60 million on Richarlison, and he's backed Son to the hill this season, despite Son doing nothing. When if you're going to do that, if you're going to say, well, Son, you're going to play regardless, then you might as well spend that 60 million on another centre back, because you've literally spent 60 million to put on the bench, because he's not giving nobody else an opportunity when somebody else should be getting an opportunity. Son should not be starting games. He came off the bench against Leicester back in, October, November, around that period, and got a hat-trick, and I think he scored 1 or 2 in the Champions League after. But maybe him being on the bench is what he needed. To bring him back in the starting lineup, it kind of just covers over or papers over the cracks of oh, you had a bad season, I'm going to basically quote unquote punish you, or you need a rest, or you need to fight your way back in the team. He had one substitute appearance, and that was enough to get him back in the team. That allows him to continue to underperform. Now, I'm not even saying that he's down in tools or he's fallen off, but sometimes players need to kick up the arse. And one match of a kick up the arse is obviously not enough. He needs to be benched. He needs to be benched. And needs to be benched for a long period of time until the player that's replaced him is giving you less than he's currently giving you.
I mean, he's tried with Son, because Son this year has been so bad. Everything that he was so good at last year is just completely fat. The man can't even dribble anymore. He can't even dribble anymore. Like there's nothing of the player that won a Golden Boot last year, and Conte's clearly tried to play him through this bad form. So just keep going with the idea that eventually it'll click, and then we'll get Son. But it just isn't. And obviously, as well in the game, Bentancur went down, and now he's out for the rest of the season. You can't afford to keep playing this many out of form players. You're going to have to start, Conte, going for who is in form now, because that's how you win games. And Tottenham can't afford to try and play players into form because they can be better. You have to play the players right now who are in form to get you the points, to get you over the line, because your squad isn't deep enough.
Okay,
that's the plain simple fact.
Let me just jump on this. Is it fully Antonio Conte's fault? No. Did he know what he was getting into when he took this job? I don't believe he did. When it comes down to it, originally when he took this job, let's be honest, we all said this was going to end in failure, because we know that Tottenham are not a club that are going to match his ambition. And at Chelsea and Juventus, they didn't match his ambition. And at Inter, they sold off his best players. That's one. Number two, this squad was massively overhyped because they walked into that top four last season thinking they were going to improve and push on. All they've done is go backwards, because one, Antonio Conte still cannot galvanize this team and get the best out of them. Kane, Son, and Kulusevski, who've been their main catalyst of winning games last season, you see Son dropping off. You see Kane still keeping up his form, and Kulusevski, as of late, is just getting back from injury. So we haven't seen the best of him either. So that has been poor. Their midfield too have had injuries. They've been extremely unlucky with the midfield and not getting Basuma sorted out. And the defense, everyone knew Tottenham needed to sign another center half going into the season. They didn't do that. They suffer massively from it right now. And this Tottenham team, they are where they are because of their own negligence. Antonio Conte, in the short term, he's a win now manager with a squad that's not a win now team. And this squad need a manager that's going to see them through the next transition. And Antonio Conte, the time's ticking. He might as well just leave, or you guys might just get rid of him, because this whole project is not going to work. And you're going to need another person to come in the near future, because he's not going to renew his contract. And at that point, you're going to try to see a succession plan in the future. Right now, I don't see any plans for the future with Tottenham with Antonio Conte. And that's just a harsh reality.
Yeah, again, everything you said is spot on, so I can't even critique it or argue with it. The only thing I'd say is that regardless of who the manager is, if it's the same guys, they're not going to get any more of a tune out of them. Eric Dyer, as Nobbin said, and as everyone else is saying, crap, should never be starting games for us. Lenglet started okay, but in the end, we've discovered that he's crap as well. Ben Davis, I've hated the guy forever. He's so crap, can't pass the ball. Like, what is he actually good at? He's a steady Eddie at best. On his best day, you have a 6 or 7 out of 10, but he's crap. Davinson Sanchez is awful. One good season coming from the Eredivisie. That league, I don't know, man. I'm just not sure about it. It's hit and miss, it's just crazy. He's not good anymore. And Tanganga, who was a good player, good youth player coming through our academy, who I liked the look of, but let's be real, he's not good enough. 3 or 4 seasons in, we still don't know his best position. Whenever he does get a game, he doesn't show that he should be starting. And yeah, we just leak. Every time Leicester went forward on Saturday, they looked like scoring. And 4-1 flattered us. That's crazy to say. Leicester were really good. Give them credit. They deserve to win that game. And I just wanted the game to be over. You know, like Terry, one of them ones where after 45, 50 minutes, you know that the game's done. You're just like, please, just fast forward to 90 minutes. Whatever the score is, let's reset and go again. We were just
want the season to be over now?
No. I still believe, you lot might call me crazy. I still think we'll make top 4, but it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be a slugfest.
Based on what?
What do you think you're finishing above Man United?
I don't know, to be honest, because even when you lot aren't, because we'll get into United, but I don't think you lot were that good on our Sunday against Leeds, but you just have moments where the quality shone, like Luke Shaw's cross, because I missed most of the game. So I turned on the 60th minute, and from like 60 through to like 80, whatever, Leeds were all over you. But then Luke Shaw, an amazing cross, Rashford, bang, 1-0, and then the game was done. Like, you lot just controlled it after that.
But
how many things?
on
One
that,
second.
so go on again. Go on.
How many things need to go your way for you guys to get top 4? I just don't physically see it. Like,
I
it
just think
seems like
Newcastle drawn off, to be honest.
Yeah, I
Newcastle
agree.
or Manchester United to drop off.
We ain't
Your
dropping off.
players
Don't worry
will be
about us.
back
We ain't
in
dropping
form. And your best player this season, who's been Bentancur, in my opinion, is out for 6 months.
Kane's been our best player. Let's not. Bentancur's been our best midfielder by a country mile. But if you're talking about best players, Kane, like, comfortably. Kane's been winning us how many games? Like, you can't say that Bentancur.
Okay. If you want to argue that point, it's fine. But the point still stands. Without Bentancur, you've massively taken a hit to your squad, and you still believe you're going to get top 4 based on what merit?
Based on the fact that if we start clicking, which I know we can, we still score a lot of goals. Defensively, we are shambles. And I just don't believe Newcastle can sustain it. And they just draw too many games. Newcastle have drawn 11 games already, which is
Newcastle
mental.
have a defense. You don't.
Yeah, but you got to win games, Agal. We've won more games than them. Even as bad.
Defense.
But we've won more games than Newcastle.
They've drawn 5 out of their last 6. That's why I think they'll drop off.
I just think, you're asking me. I have answered it, Agal.
Patrick, the difference with Man United and Spurs, for example, you speak about Luke Shaw, that brilliant cross, etc. At the start of the season, Luke Shaw was dropped from the team. Maguire was dropped from the team. Now, Malacia just came in, but Ten Hag gave certain players kicks up the backside. We've seen what happened with Sanchez. Kicks up the backside. The player that you're bringing in, a Garnacho, isn't as proven on the world stage as a Jadon Sancho. But if someone's not doing their job, you have to. They have to be punished for not doing their job. We'll probably get onto that in a different element later. But that's be punished for not doing their job, or they're going to continue making the same mistakes because they know there's no punishment for that. And Conte has allowed a lot of players to just get away with poor performances week in, week out. We talk about Pedro Porro coming in now, and Emerson, he had a great game against Man City, but Jess Spence didn't get a game all year purely because Conte didn't buy him. But the right backs that were playing there were not performing. So even if you brought in Jed Spence, he couldn't have played worse than they were. But it doesn't. But if you don't do that, you don't then get a better performance out of Emerson and Doherty because they know next week I'm going to be playing again. And I think that's one of the biggest problems.
I thought that was what Danjuma was for. I thought you brought in like Richarlison would stay as the Harry Kane backup because he'd played so many minutes. You hadn't had a chance to rest him all year. I thought that was what Danjuma was for. So come in, take the load off of Heung-min Son, step in for these games.
Every manager though ruins Harry Kane. They all overplay him. Every manager, Poch overplayed him, Jose overplayed him, Nuno didn't really get the chance to. Conte's overplaying him. One of the reasons that Pep has outlasted, Liverpool, if we ignore the potential allegations here, that as being one of the reasons, is because Pep will regularly rotate. He'll regularly drop people. One moment Gundogan's a star midfielder, the next minute he's riding the bench. The defense even more so. Aguero didn't play every single minute of every single game. Fergie was a master of rotation. There's a reason I think why you look at Mo Salah and he's burning out a little bit. It's like every game he has to play. Harry Kane gets ruined. In terms of making top 4, though, since the World Cup, Spurs, if there's a league table from the World Cup until now, Spurs would be 12th place. They've 10 points from 8 games, 3 wins, which is decent, 4 defeats, 1 draw. My issue with Tottenham is there's been one quality performance in that against City and one very good second half against Crystal Palace. That's sort of 135 minutes of performance out of nearly 900 minutes, about 800 minutes of game time played. That's got to be the problem with Tottenham. And you might click and it'll be okay, but if Newcastle click again and start scoring, I just don't see you having enough to beat them. There is a disconnect in your side. On Man United, you said like United, we weren't that great yesterday, to be fair, for the majority of the game. We scored the goal in the 80th minute, I would say, against the run of play, but we went on to win. But if you look at us in our last 12, 13, 14 games, barring this game against Leeds, the defeat against Arsenal, outside of that, there's been no game where we've been second best. We've had moments in games where teams have had some good moments, but we have been very consistent in those performances. And I think United feel fans feel very confident that we're not going to drop off. We've got Casemiro. Look, we have to beat, as long as we beat Leicester this coming weekend, Casemiro suspension may end up feeling like a blessing in disguise, a 3-game rest in the middle of the season for him, looking for a silver lining. As an example, Sabitza's come in. He's not a 6. He struggled in the 6 role yesterday, but his ability on the ball is head and shoulders. That pass he played out to Luke Shaw, McTominay isn't doing that from that angle being closed down. So United are going to be okay. Man United will make the top 4 this year. There's no doubt about it in my mind. And we've got the most in-form attacker. We've got the best attacker in the world right now on form in our team in Marcus Rashford. No one in the world is better than him right now on form. Goals, match winner. I mean, just look at him since the return of the World Cup. No one can bolster these numbers. He's done it in cup competitions, league, home and away, self-made goals, tap-ins, headers. He's the best in the world right now on form. And I'm saying on form. And I think you couple all that in together, Man United, for me, shoo-in for 3rd. No one's taking 3rd place off of us, unless Arsenal or City collapse. Maybe they'll take 3rd of us and boost us into 2nd. But that's it. Man United are doing what I think a lot of people expected Tottenham to do this year. And be that kind of, maybe not the title challenges, but to be that guaranteed 3rd place team. And Spurs have let up for me. And I think Antonio Conte, the quicker he leaves, the better for the better for Tottenham. Not because he's a bad manager, but because they're not giving him what he wants. He's I reckon he's horrible to be around when he's not getting what he wants. And that's not a dig at him. It's just his personality. And then Daniel Levy's done it now. 2 big managers running. He's brought in managers that if you don't give them what they want, they're like a bear with a sore head. And he's poking the bear with a stick. It's absolutely unbelievable. Sorry, Gal, go on.
On your Rashford point, he's been absolutely scintillating, but Osimhen has better numbers than him since the World Cup. Just mentioned.
Who?
Osimhen, Victor Osimhen from Napoli.
Victor Osimhen has got more goals and assists than Rashford since the World Cup.
I'm pretty sure he does. Yes.
No. How many does he have?
Let me check. So in the league, he scored his second game back. He scored a goal. Next game after that, he got a brace. Then he scored a goal against Roma. He scored a goal against Spezia. He scored a goal. He got a brace for Spezia. So overall, that's what, 5.
That's 7.
Another 7. So yeah, overall, he's got 8 goals. 8 goals.
So he's got 8 goals. So Marcus Rashford,
just in the league.
Yeah, but it isn't our fault that Rashford keeps scoring in the cups and keeping us in them, mate. Like that, you can't discount extra games Rashford's got because he's putting us through to the next round of cup. So Rashford has, since the World Cup, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 goals and 5 assists. We win.
13 goals.
13 goals and 5 assists. Osimhen's got 8 and 1. No, 7.
Wow. Yeah, that's not even.
Rashford's got more than double the GA. Did you know what happened there to you, Gal? Cognitive dissonance kicked in. Your anger that Rashford's performing kicked in.
Better than Saka. He's just annoyed that you're giving him the props over Saka.
Speaking of Rashford, did this trigger you today, Gal, when you saw the Premier League credit the celebration to Rashford again? Did that wind you up today, Gal?
Terry, Premier League India have been joking around with everybody lately. It's okay.
So you saw it as a joke.
I heard that Rashford got more goals than Martinelli and Saka combined, or something along those lines.
He has.
Is that correct?
I think Saka's got 16. Martinelli's got 10 GA in all comps. Rashford's got 29 in all comps. Rashford's now the most prolific guy in Europe this season, goals and assists, is Haaland on 35. Rashford's currently on 29. I think only Haaland. Mbappe's on like 31.
Yeah.
Neymar 33. But Rashford's closing in. Like Rashford's got a good chance of finishing this season the most prolific attacker in Europe.
It's not bad, guys. It's not bad.
How many? Just so I know. How many goals does he have in the league?
12.
Okay. So Balogun has more than him.
In a
different league, yeah. In a different league.
Yeah.
Gal, you're shameless, you know. Just give him.
Well, maybe, Gal. Maybe if you kept Balogun, you might have beat Brentford and Everton.
I'm just gonna say this.
You should have kept Balogun.
Based on my criteria, Rashford at this moment in time, I would consider world class. So I am giving him his props. If you can even check it out. I've said it numerous times on my own show. But when it comes down to it, I'm just trying to be fair here.
Be fair to what? Who? Who you being fair to?
What? No, I just wanted to mention.
What do you mean be fair? You've tried to discount all of Rashford's cup goals.
No. That's not what I did.
He's trying to be fair to the guy that Arteta got rid of for Eddie.
In fairness, my brother did that to me in a group chat yesterday. He's like, yeah, but Rashford's only scored some of those goals because they're in the cup. Did what a gal did, and I'm like, bruv. And I said, who's it not fair against? Well, certain other players. He was talking about Saka. He's an Arsenal fan. He's like, Saka's not in that cup competition. I went, yeah, because he didn't score in the earlier rounds to put you through. Like, you can't It's like Messi gets 10 Champions League goals and Rashford only gets 1. And I go, yeah, but Rashford went out in the group stage. That's not fair. Well, that's good. Messi, if he'd have scored more goals,
but Terry, in Italy, they only have 1 cup competition. So if we're going to compare cup goals, you also obviously have more chances of scoring cup goals when you have 2 competitions than 1.
So we discount all League Cup goals moving forward now, in your opinion?
No, you said he's been one of the best goal scorers since coming back from the World Cup. That is a fact. But in the league, across all the top 5 leagues,
Osimhen has 8 goals and 1 assist in 8 games. Rashford has 18 goals and assists in 14 games. So even on the ratio, he's still got more than a goal or assist a game than Osimhen has. So whichever way you want to spin it, Gal, he's better than Saka. That's what we're trying to get at.
Okay, listen. Saka has no peers on the right side at this moment in time. But when it comes to the left, you guys can talk about Rashford.
What about through the middle? Rashford does that as well.
It is what it is. On Man United, do you guys think United are almost no one's 100% certain, but are United pretty much a shoo-in now after this victory against Leeds for top 4?
Yeah, they'll get third, I think. They're basically nailed on, I think, at this
7
point.
points clear of 5th. 7 points clear now, which is I think, a big lead.
United's sound. You've got too much. You've actually playing really well, and it annoys me. You're playing actually really well. So much confidence. I mean, to be fair, I think it's just a battle for 4th between Newcastle and Brighton, because Brighton they've got 2 games in hand on Tottenham. They're only 4 points behind, and they're in some really good form with winning at Brighton. And I think Newcastle, Brighton. Which one of them do you want getting European nights on a Wednesday? I don't know. It's a tough one, that one. But it won't be Tottenham. not with Dyer. Not with Dyer. Not with.
What do you actually say?
Not with Davies. Like United's are fine for top 4. Like United are probably getting 3rd. Like shooing 3rd. 100%.
United could be in the title race.
No.
If we were good enough, we could
listen,
be. Listen,
if we draw at the Emirates, they're in it. That's
no,
the
not
or
really.
lose.
If they are in it, they're in name only rather than actually in it. Like, let's be honest with
what he's trying to do, he's trying to do when Spurs came 3rd in a 2-horse race. Trying to put
I welcome them to the title race the moment that they beat you guys at what was it? At their ground, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So the moment they beat you guys, I said welcome to the title race because they impacted it, and they were second for like a couple minutes before you guys.
Oh no! This shamelessness from me, guy. Look, I can't put United in the title race. Wow. It's so hard to put United in a title race when there's games in hand to be played. That's the only thing that sticks with me.
Do you know what it is? Look, are you talking about United being in the title race?
Yeah, you were second for like 2 minutes. So
yeah,
you're in the title race.
We were. And the thing of it is, though, like, I kind of get the banter. But at the same time, like, I love it because I remember because all of you, barring Nobbins, was sitting in that room the beginning of the season where we were up on stage, Football Terrace Live, and no one predicted it. By the way, including a lot of United fans, us coming anywhere above 7th. So the fact we're sitting 3rd and we're teetering on the edge of 2nd, year 1 with the manager in a cup final, still in the FA Cup. Let's see what happens against Barcelona this week. Man United fans are on cloud 9, and you clap it like that, Igal. But
it's a compliment, Terry.
Igal, brother, I can see saltiness and I can see sarcasm a mile away. It is.
Yeah, he's shithousing all the way.
Igal, you got to be really careful of Igal. You just better hope that this, and we're going to get onto Arsenal later, that you don't end up. If you finish behind Man United this year, I don't think Arsenal fans will make it through the summer. It will be like The Walking Dead because you, some of you, not all of you, a lot of gooners follow the Terrace. But whenever I tweet something positive about United, last night I tweeted about Rashford and said he has 29 goal contributions in 34 games, and then I broke down how many that is per minute, and it's 1 in 84 minutes. And me and Nick had a bit of fun reading the comments. There was loads of bad math, doesn't add up, you're cooking the books. And I'm like, yeah, he hasn't played 90 minutes in each of those 34 games. Like, that's just He divided his minutes by how many GA he's got. It's one per every 84 minutes. But everybody, barring one person that responded negatively, is supporting the club top of the league. And I'm sort of sitting there thinking, why the salt from Arsenal fans towards Man United? And
you got bigger fish to fry.
You should credit yourself. You should credit
Mhm.
yourself. You've gotten such a big Arsenal following because you've been bigging up Arsenal so much that they all support you now. They back you. They like Terry.
Only when
Arsenal
you
fans,
talk good about
you like
Arsenal.
Terry. So
Only
they follow
when
you,
you-
Terry, and they interact with you.
I mean, I know I'm the biggest individual Arsenal content creator in the world, which is great. Like, I love that I've been able to do that, speaking my truth. But I don't. It's not the guys that come for me and attack me are not the same gooners who watch and support my channel. There's like this little cluster, and there's only a small. Listen, I'm not even labeling it on Arsenal fans. There's a small group, very minute, small group of people, like flat earthers, who are just weird. And I just sort of think, if I'm top of the league, I don't care about the team in third that ain't in the title race, but they care about everything positive about every other club. I don't understand it.
If I tweet Ten Hag has done brilliant this season, they'll be like, well, Arteta's got more hair. Like, relax, bro. Come on, man.
I think to be fair,
Listen, the reason why people are reacting, it's when someone puts an opinion out there, there's always going to be someone who's going to rebuttal. So when someone says Eric Ten Hag has been doing a miracle with the budget that he's gotten, people are they're gonna react a certain way. When people say, "Oh, Eric Ten Hag's in his first final," people are gonna be certain fan bases are just gonna start talking about.
That's fine. It doesn't mean you bring your own club into it. It's like that thing of like if you say you hate apples and then goes, what do you hate oranges as well? There's no need. Yeah, my fan base is the worst. That's it. I know we are. It's a gripe on us, but that gives me the biggest chance to go. I've seen it from so many people. Stop doing it. Stop trying to get, because it just looks like you're nervous.
You're talking to other people.
Your fan base, then tell your fan base to stop doing it. It's like you're getting nervous. Looks like you're getting cold feet.
One second, Terry. I have to get back at Tom. Your fan base was the fan base that told us when we called a certain player on your team good, you have to say, no, he's amazing. And then you talk about Mo Salah. He's one of the best in the Premier League. No, he's the best in the world. He's better than Neymar. I've just owned up to that. I've just said, yes, we are, which is why I can talk about it. I'm telling you, the same breath how you're telling me to talk to them, you talk to your boys too.
No, because we do it because we're just crap. You're doing it because it looks from the outside like you're getting a bit cold feet, like you're getting nervous. Like it wasn't like this, and then you lose you drop points in 3 games, and then Rashford's crap, Ten Hag.
One second.
Point the fingers at everyone else.
Tell everyone composure, because I'm seeing people losing their heads. You guys gotta relax,
bro. It just doesn't sound right because you ain't got that East London accent like Dave. Do you know what I'm saying? So just leave composure there. You know what I love the most about Igal?
I can't speak English now.
No, I didn't say you couldn't speak English. I said it doesn't sound right without the East London accent. Do you know what I mean?
Fair enough.
It's like me trying to sound like a soprano with a Cockney accent. It wouldn't work, bro.
I'm speaking like a Toronto guy.
Like a Toronto guy, like you.
Yeah.
No, I can't. I'm not going to do your voice.
Terry almost did it. He almost.
Oh, the hesitation.
How do I do I'll do it like you, Igal.
No, say yo, we doing it.
I love Arsenal. Oh my God, we're the best team in the world, man. Oh my God, composure.
That's what it kind of sounds like to me, Igal. But you know what I love about Igal? You know, like, have you ever gone to Disneyland, right? And you get there and it's great because you see Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse. You see Buzz Lightyear. They're alive. They're real, right? You see the real live ones. Igal's TikTok is like Twitter has come alive. It's like Igal's TikTok is like Twitter is human. It's just every time I go on there, and sometimes it's kind of like,
oh my God, guys, did you see this news? Did you see this? Oh my God, Rashford, nice celebration. He didn't make it up.
And then other times it's really slow and ominous. And it's sort of like this is on camera, and it's sort of like
actually funny.
And then sometimes it's like,
guys, today football died.
And it's so dramatic and crazy. And yeah, Igal honestly, he makes me die.
Terry, did you see what I did before we lost to Tottenham last year? I literally had like the blinking effect, like someone's waking up. I'm like, guys, wake up. It's okay.
Mate,
I do this all the time. It's fair.
You put some stuff on there, and I sort of watch it, and I'm just sort of like, God damn. But that's Igal. That's Igal for you. This is here. Says Rashford is not a real winger. Saka receives the ball on the touchline most of the time. Mahrez and Saka are more comparable. See, this is what happens, though. So for me, there's no such thing as a winger anymore. They call them left and right wingers. Wingers are like Ryan Giggs, David Beckham. left midfielders they used to be. They're all inside forwards, or they're all part of the attacking front three. So they are comparable. But again, this is what always happens. You'll get someone that breaks away from like a pack, and then suddenly they all want to be given individual roles. That way you can't say Rashford's better because they're not the same type of player. You know, DMs get compared, attacking midfielders get compared, strikers get compared, even though they don't all do exactly the same jobs. But I get where you're coming from. But Rashford and for me, when I look at Rashford and Saka, I see two very, very good players. And Rashford's older as well, by the way. So Rashford should be scoring and assisting more than him. And I'm sure it's going to come with Saka later down the line. Some other super chats here. Imagine Arsenal finish third in a 2-horse race. Yeah, I mean, if that happens, if Arsenal end up finishing third, not in the title race behind Man United, I think even some diehard Arteta-inners will say Arteta out. I think they won't be able to cope with that personally, but that's just me.
I think finishing third is not going to happen. So if it does happen, I agree with you there. It would definitely cause a lot of issues.
Yeah, it's so unlikely. Honesty here says Spurs are really a wholesome team, helping Arsenal winning the league, helping Leicester City getting their confidence back. It's beautiful, is what Honesty says here.
If Arsenal win the league, though, there's still a big if. Like, they've got City twice, and yeah, Wednesday's going to be very tasty.
Now, Patrick, you're my guy, but you haven't gotten any predictions right this season.
I have actually. I've got quite a lot right. And we're still going.
You said when Tottenham are third, 4 points behind us, you could be in the title race. You also said you're going to finish above us. You're going to still finish in the top 4.
Yeah, that was ages ago. Come on.
You said Kane was better than Haaland. What else do you want me to mention?
Kane is better than Haaland.
Kane is better than Haaland.
Kane is better than Haaland.
Thank you. There you go.
Not this season.
That's the only thing you got right.
He got one right. He got one right.
Listen. I'll take it right now.
Listen, let's go. I'm on a roll today. I love it.
Another super chat here says Saka has been better in the league. Saka has been better overall, as a better overall game than Rashford. I think Saka definitely started the season better. I think Rashford's been the better player since Christmas until sort of Christmas time until now. Both have had very, very good seasons, but the business end of the season is when people remember. Like, if Rashford keeps scoring like he is now and playing like this, the fact he's English as well, he's very likely to win one of the Player of the Year awards. Very, very likely doing what he's doing now. Trophies will come into that as well. But listen, let's see that back straight, that last 7, 8, 9 games where all the winning is done. Who knows what will happen? This here says, don't compare Prem goals to Serie A. I hear you on that. Can I replace Igal on the show to rep Arsenal?
Come. Let's see if you can even do it.
Yeah, you got to turn your camera on though, bruv. You got to turn the camera on. Not Conte's fault. Donkeys can't win horse races.
Yes and no.
Conte needs to stop playing certain donkeys then.
Yeah, Conte
needs to stop putting the donkeys in the race.
That's it. Some of the blame does lie on Conte now. Come on, we can't just say it's not Conte's fault. It is. He's picking certain players and putting them in certain roles. So yeah.
I can't believe the one game he should have started Emerson, he didn't.
I know, crazy, right? Crazy.
Tim, I know you've listened. Tim Sherwood, when he was talking about Pedro Porro, my man's vein in the side of his head was gone. He was fuming at him.
I think Sherwood went too far. I do agree Porro had a disaster class of a debut, but he's gone a bit too fast. His first game, like, come on, like, chill out a bit. But it's one of them ones.
One of them. I think as well with Antonio Conte, I get that he would be able to win a title like he did with Chelsea or Inter with this Spurs team. But I think he should be able to beat relegation teams. He should be able to put in some better performances than he has done. And I think it's the combination of the two things which is infuriating people. This here says, Patrick, what's your chances against AC Milan?
You know what? I was confident before Saturday's game. The fact that Bentancur's out, Højbjerg suspended as well. So we're going in with a double pivot of Skip and Sarr. I'm worried, I can't lie. Away at San Siro with those two in the middle. It's looking a bit bleak. Look at everyone laughing at me. I'm just being honest. But yeah, man. I don't know. It's not looking good, man. It's not looking good.
The champion.
Yeah. I hear you on that. Chelsea dropped points again at the weekend, and it's kind of been one of those weird weekends. Maybe because it happened on Friday, and there's been so much football since. It's not really been discussed as much. But
Was it Friday?
What we were saying about Chelsea and their sort of their lack of wins. I think they've had one win since Christmas. One win in the Premier League in 2023. That was a 1-0 win against Palace. It doesn't look great down there, does it, Nobbins?
Yeah, Chelsea are a weird one. I watched that game, like the first 20, 30 minutes. I was like, oh my God, like this Chelsea team's finally clicked. They're creating so many chances. Like they're like, if they get like a proper striker in, or, just like playing Kunku in like in a good role next season, they could like be like genuine title contenders. And then out of nowhere, like West Ham just like get a goal because I think like Mudryk doesn't really close as he should. Cucurella is having a bad season. And then they just sort of like capitulate from there. And so it's a really weird one. I still believe in Potter. I like Potter a lot. I loved him at Brighton. I know a lot of Chelsea fans don't like him. But I do think that, as we saw with Arteta and Arsenal, it is a case of trusting the process, I think. It will take a long time for all these players to amalgamate into the team. We've already seen some of them play well. Like I think Enzo Fernandez, I was very impressed with. Mudryk, in the little I've seen him, I thought it's been good. João Felix has sort of reminded me how like bad Havertz is. Like Felix comes in and is immediately really good, and then Havertz is a sort of similar type of player in theory. It's just like pales in comparison. So my thoughts on Chelsea are that they're obviously not the finished article yet. They still need a proper striker. Maybe Nkunku will be that, although he's not really an out-and-out number 9. But yeah, they're a weird one. Sort of like a night and day performance from Chelsea, I thought.
I'm not even getting at you, Nobbins, because a lot of people have said it, but when people revert to the Arteta example as like a benchmark or I think it's an outlier. Arteta is fortunate to be. Arteta's lucky to be at Arsenal right now. Let's keep it honest. At most top 6 clubs, including Spurs, he would have been sacked after his second full year, maybe at the end of last season.
When he finished 8th for the second year.
8th and then 5th. So,
but where are Spurs now? Where are Arsenal now?
No, I get it. What I'm saying is, I think to expect Chelsea fans or expect Chelsea, the board, to look at the Arteta model as, well, it worked for them, let's do it, I think it's unlikely, because it's not something that happens every so often. It happened because he was given the time. He was given his 3.5 years to get it right, so to speak. But sometimes you might give a manager 3.5 years and they're still getting it wrong, and then it's like, damn, we should have got rid of him 1.5 years ago. I'm not even saying get rid of Potter now. That's not what I'm saying. But if you look at Manchester United, Liverpool, Man City, all of those teams right now, and let's say prior exclude Oli, but if you look at all their times where Liverpool have been successful, Man City have been successful, Man United are trying to be successful, they've all got managers who have some kind of pedigree, at least at the European level. I'm not saying you have to win all those cups, but some pedigree. They've won in Europe in terms of their leagues, Borussia Dortmund, Barcelona, and of course Bayern Munich, Ajax with Ten Hag. They've all been relatively successful based on the club they've been with in the Champions League. And then they've come to England to rebuild a squad or start a project. But they're starting the project from a place of, what's the word? Like some kind of superiority because of the level of management. They've got standing
already. They're afforded time.
Whereas Potter's come in to start this project at Chelsea from a level where he's below Chelsea's level. For what Chelsea needs, he needs to actually get up to Chelsea's level before he can take Chelsea to the next level. And I think that's the biggest issue here. Chelsea have got the manager that Spurs should have, respectfully to Spurs. And Spurs have got the manager that Chelsea should have. In terms of that is the level of manager Chelsea should be going for. I'm not saying they have to get rid of, do it the same Abramovich way every 2-3 years, get rid of a new manager. But they should be going for proven, on the brink of world-class managers. And I never thought Potter was on the brink of that. I think Potter had a lot to prove that he could get to that brink. It was like the whole Brendan Rodgers. He was at Swansea. He did his bit there. He went to Liverpool, and yes, he nearly won the title, but that was a flash in the pan. That was a step too far. And I've said it before, I'll say it again, maybe until he's actually gone. I just think this job is just too big for him. And the way that he talks in the press conferences suggests to me that he feels a bit like,
He feels
I
like
don't think I'm not really supposed to be here. I'm just happy to be here. That's the way I look at it sometimes.
Even like his touchline, like it's a weird thing to talk about, but I think it's important. When you look at how these other top managers are on the touchline, there's a presence there. You can see them trying to do something. The amount of times the camera cuts to Graham Potter and he sat down just watching the game, like he's paid 50 quid to go sit on the front row. Like, you're supposed to be there as the manager, trying to have an influence on the team. But even in the press, like you're Chelsea FC, you're supposed to be better than 90% of the rest. You're not supposed to sit there after scraping a draw against whoever it is and go, "Oh, every team in this league's good. They all give us tough competition." You're supposed to sit there and go, "We're much better. We walk the floor, and if you don't, there's major problems." But he's not up to that yet.
I think you guys are being harsh a little bit on Chelsea. Understand that this is the first time they've had these guys even playing together. Reece James just come back from injury. Felix just got in. Enzo Fernandez just got in. You look at some of these guys, they haven't really played together. They haven't really had an opportunity to gel. I've always said since they sacked Thomas Tuchel, it was going to take a while for this Chelsea team to get going and get themselves playing. You don't even have familiarity between some of these players. At this moment in time, Chelsea Football Club are the same as Enzo Fernandez payments. They're taking their points in installments, and we got to just take it as it is.
Wow, Gal's got heat for everyone today, hasn't it?
I know.
I like it. I like it. Listen, I feel like I get the people are challenging him. I just think this is a slow burner. And the fact they keep coming out and publicly backing him and saying he's going to get time, doesn't matter what goes wrong, we're going to be behind him. I get why Chelsea fans are going to keep asking for him to go, but I just get a feeling he's going no time soon. Every now and then I look at it and think they're not winning games. At some point, you're going to get one of those news reports from a Kinsella or a David Ornstein say like there's suddenly pressure on him. But it's almost like after every poor result, they brief the media to say, no, this man is staying. He's part of our long-term vision, and we think we're going to build something brilliant with him. And I think Chelsea fans really struggle because this is so new for them. They're not used to this approach, the types of players they're buying, the idea of a long-term plan at Chelsea. Like these guys, like everything was instant, instant dinner, instant coffee, instant family. I don't know, literally like everything was straight away. Blow up dolls, girlfriends. I don't know what it was, but everything straight away.
Let me ask you, because everyone said, and you said it as well. This obviously this is new. We haven't seen this with many times, but Chelsea have basically fast-tracked the process. They've done, 3 transfer windows, 4 transfer windows work in 1 transfer window, so to speak.
Yeah.
Does that mean next season we expect them to win the league? Because if any other manager had 2 or 3 transfer windows at a top 6 club, after that 3rd transfer window, you'd be like, all right, now it's time to challenge. So are we gonna, if we're saying that, well, this is the process and we have to accept the process for what it is, and Todd Bowley knows what he's doing, we therefore have to expect Chelsea at the end of this season, the start of next season, to be ahead of where most teams would be after spending 600 million. Because I mean, we can't have, it's either they know what they're doing and they're going to win the title because they fast track the process, or they have no clue what they're doing and they've bought a bunch of players who are never going to have time to gel.
Mate, I think it's a fair question, and I think that I said this on the video that I did this morning where I was talking about something Rory Jennings said, and I think next year they top 4 challenging. They need to be in the mix, and sometimes you can miss out but still be a really good team. But they have to be a good team next year. So I do think they have to click quicker in that regard. They get the remainder of this season to tinker. They get the manager's essentially got, in my opinion, an extended preseason with competitive games. That's how he's got to treat this. I can't imagine them winning the Champions League. So it's all preparation for next year. Who can stay? Who's going to go? And I think one of the biggest elements of the summer is who they can get rid of. Getting rid of the right players is going to be just as key. And I still think, by the way, they're going to add 3 or 4 more players in the summer. But I think what they might do in the summer is 3 or 4 players, like sort of they're looking at the likes of Usherman up front, 80, 90 million. It might be 3 or 4 real big money signings. Caicedo.
Is that on top of Nkunku, and obviously they got the right back from Leon already coming in?
Yeah. That's on top of them. They're talking about going again financially, but we don't know what it looks like in terms of, is that going to be another 6 or 7 players, or is that going to be 2 or 3, maybe 4? So yeah, I think there does need to be expectations on them, and I expect them to finish games off like they did the other day. But in that opening sort of half, I could see what Graham Potter was trying to do. And I get that his methods are being challenged right now. But again, I remember when Klopp was getting challenged in England. And obviously Klopp had more of a CV, but I remember the first 18 months and this sort of, we can't stop his teams from conceding. It's never going to work. And then he dropped that money on Van Dijk, and they just literally, it was like overnight, they became a team that could manage games through. And I think once he gets it, who knows how good he'll be? Who knows how good they'll do? But certainly at the weekend, it was nowhere near the standard which I think Chelsea fans.
Can I mention one thing? They got robbed of a penalty. Also, we can't forget to mention that.
I mean, VAR this weekend had. I mean, we have to say probably had it's. I wanted to ask you all anyway. It's a natural progression into VAR. We are going to move on to talk about Arsenal's defeat a little bit later. Arsenal versus Man City preview still coming up on the show. So stay with us. Make sure you're hitting the like button for us, people, and subscribe to the Football Terrace. And very special offer on NordVPN that we're going to talk to you all through very, very soon as well. But, I mean, VAR, are we getting to a point with VAR where it needs to be cancelled, scrapped? Because, I mean, Arsenal's goal, as you can see here, they didn't draw the lines, which I understand. But by the way, so I understand subjective decisions being wrong. I think it's a foul. You don't. I can accept that to a certain degree, but I'll get onto that a little later. But drawing the lines, and then in the Brighton Palace game, they drew the line on the wrong defender. Are we just getting to a stage now where these mistakes are almost so unforgivable? You've almost got to scrap it because, like Gal, you defended this in real time, like I did. It was probably onside. We just didn't get to see it. Now you know that they forgot to do their job. How are you feeling about it now?
Absolutely fuming. This is an absolute disgrace. How the hell do you forget to draw? How the hell do you forget to do your job? This is your job. You're a paid professional. How do you forget to do your job? That is unexcusable. Now, I get it. On the run of the game, you guys are going to make jokes. This is not an excuse. Forget about the excuse. Forget about the game. As a football fan, you don't want these guys to make these catastrophic, incompetent errors on and off the pitch. Like the whole point of VAR was to stop the incompetence on the pitch. Now we're having incompetence off the pitch. They have to do something about this. I want to see Lee Mason, for example, to have some sort of punishment. You cannot let these guys just go scot-free without getting some sort of ramifications for their actions. They're costing Premier League games. They're costing people points. This could mean people losing their jobs, other managers losing their jobs, players not getting their bonuses at the end of the year. So many different ramifications to this one decision that you can make. We've seen Aston Villa stay in the Premier League because of a faulty situation. Aston Villa could have been out of the Premier League. We wouldn't have them in the Premier League right now if it wasn't for a Premier League error. So I genuinely believe there needs to be something seriously done about this. I'm calling for Lee Mason to get some sort of punishment, either suspension or something, because you cannot have this. And this is not the first time he's done it. It's not the second time he's done it. He did it against Newcastle Crystal Palace last year. How on earth are you employing these guys? This is one of the best leagues in the world, one of the most highest valued leagues where decisions can change so many things when it comes to betting companies, when it comes to just employers, when it comes to actual ramifications in the league table. And they're making these kind of catastrophic errors. It's ridiculous, a disgrace, and that individual, Lee Mason, needs to be punished, and anybody else involved needs to see some sort of investigation. I think I'm not going to say it's corruption. I'm just going to put it down to incompetence.
The thing is, for me, like I just think the idea of scrapping VAR is just a bit stupid, because it's not the video. It's like in itself, it works. It's the people operating it who are some of the worst referees we've seen, and it's an issue within the country as a whole. The amount of people I know who support teams in League One, League Two, and you go and watch some of the highlights, or they'll send you highlights, and they make some of the stupidest decisions you've ever seen, and the rhyme or reasoning isn't there, and you don't get it. So there has to be something done about the standard of officiating in this country. Not VAR itself, because VAR works. The standard of officiating has to change. And whether that is better courses, whether that's finding a way to get more people to want to be a referee, which I know is one of the hardest jobs, because stuff like this will happen if you get a decision wrong. All the criticism and that will get onto you. Or maybe even, we are the best league in the world, so just go poach the best referees. Just pay them what they want, and scrap this thing where we have to have English referees in our league, because guess what? No one rates the English referees, because there hasn't been one at the last two tournaments. Euro 2020, there wasn't one, and there might have been one at the World Cup. I don't know if there was because he made the biggest error. He made the biggest error in the tournament. The standard of officiating in this country is in the pan, and until that changes, VAR will constantly get the criticism when it's doing nothing wrong. It's the people operating it. You wouldn't blame if I was to put a horse in a car and then it drives off the cliff. I'm not going to blame the horse for driving off the cliff. It's my fault because I told it to do it. It's stupid putting in people who are incompetent to do the job and then blaming the thing for it failing. It's a joke. And until that changes, incidents like this will happen again and again and again because, like Igal said, there's no punishment. There's a fella who's been took off VAR. He's been took off VAR for our game today. I can't remember his name.
They apologize.
He'll be back on next week. And it'll be like nothing's wrong.
Bro, the worst part about it is they're apologizing. I get it. Great. You holding yourselves accountable. You're apologizing. What are they going to do from here? That's my real thing. I get it, what you said, but what the hell are they going to do from here? Because apologizing is not going to get anybody 3 points.
Well, they're not going to do anything, and this is the problem. And I think that when I say about VAR being scrapped, I get your point that the lines, the tech was there for the lines to be drawn, therefore get better people operating it. But since Howard Webb took over, sort of post World Cup, even the subjective decisions are becoming a problem. There was a penalty that Weghorst should have got a couple of games ago, where he takes the ball off of the defender's leg, who was kicking to clear it. The player doesn't touch the ball, and he just kicks Weghorst in the shin. And you watch the replay, and it's one of those ones, when the commentators go, oh, yeah, pen. And everybody just, if you were watching it at home, you'd probably stop concentrating for a few minutes because you just assume they're going to give a pen. Loads haven't been given. There was Andy Carroll's tackle on Christian Eriksen as an example. Not only did it end Eriksen's season, the player wasn't even booked. There've been lots of these decisions, and not just against Man United. I've seen loads for many teams where you look at the replay and go, oh, that'll be given now that we've seen the replay. And they're barely overturning decisions, whether they're red card decisions, whether they're stonewall penalties or not. They're just going with the on-field referee nearly all the time. There's been a handful of times where they've gone to VAR. I think João Felix would be a prime example. No, João Felix was a straight red on the field. There's been a handful where they have, but they're almost using VAR now to protect the referee on the field of play. Yeah. And I loved VAR when lots of decisions were being changed because the game's so quick, the game's so fast, and it's one official. I was watching the NFL last night, watching the Super Bowl, and it is a slower game in the sense of there's lots of breaks, there's lots of. But how many officials there running on the pitch with their little red flag, with their little yellow flags? They're everywhere, and they still have VAR, and the subjective decisions still get booed and cheered, and they still have to use VAR to get it right. We've got one man running around, and now we're not relying on the video evidence to change decisions. And I'm at a point where I don't understand what. I know that this doesn't matter for the offsides, but now I don't understand what clear and obvious means. Brentford themselves were robbed of a goal at the weekend. It was never a foul on Gabriel. The fact that I thought the protocol was when fouls like that happen, that close to a goal and they build up to a goal, you don't blow your whistle, you let the goal go in, then you disallow it, because if the whistle goes before the ball goes in, you can't replay it back. You watch that back on VAR, and he did have hold of Gabriel's shirt. The player was already falling over. There was no real thrust. It should have been a goal. They're not even following protocol. They did that with. There was another goal recently, the goal that kept Liverpool in the FA Cup against Wolves, that they fouled on the protocol, because if the ball goes out wide and the player's offside and he's not running through on goal, you're meant to put the flag up instantly. They didn't until after the goal. So they're breaking rules now. They're breaking regulations. They're breaking protocol.
Did you see the Wolves thing, Terry?
It's terrible.
Let me just add what happened against Wolves.
Oh, God.
So two people walked over to the referee. The third person is Lamela. He's already on a yellow card. He gives him a second yellow and sends him off. And they asked him, why'd you do that? He said, oh, you two walked over. When the third person walked over, I chose to give the third person the yellow card.
He said he felt threatened or something like that.
He's like, why didn't you give it to me or Joao? Because we were the first people there.
You ran aggressively towards the referee. That is the stupidest
thing. The third player gets the yellow card.
That happened in the City game as well.
Rules.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then I get you. And then I think they did it to the third player in the City game. I'm telling you, there's man in the ear. Listen, get the third guy, because then it gives us a get out of jail free card. Go, well, that's what we always do.
Yeah, that's the protocol.
Then what happens if a fourth guy comes over? What happens then? Do they
does the third player does his yellow card get taken away, or
every 3 players?
Every 3 players. Well, it's even like supposedly even net grabbing, because Andre Ayew last week, like Casemiro. I still think he read was harsh when you actually look at the full clip. Like, he was trying to stop the guy fighting. At the end of it, they hugged each other and there was no fight. He gets a red card. But Ayew grabs the neck just before it. So they're not even like looking at full incidents. They're just looking at, if they notice something, that's what they focus on. They're not looking at entireties. And I kind of feel like VAR is losing its way so much. And I was a big advocate of it when it came in. And of course, people are going to say I'm only angry because Arsenal had a goal ruled out. They shouldn't have had to go.
But Terry, we also had a goal that no one's talking about ruled out. Their course was onside.
Yes.
When Maguire never touched the ball, the TV screen showed the front angle looking at the player. There was no touch on Maguire, hit the defender's arm. Then VAR only looked at the side angle where the angle of the ball looks like it's in line with Maguire's head. But of course, when you look from the other angle, you see that it doesn't touch it. But they were so quick to give the decision as offside. I guess we were 2-0 up. There was 1 minute to play. It didn't really have an effect on the game. But again, it's the protocol. We'll come back to the Arsenal one. If you don't follow the full protocol right through to the end, that's how you're bound to make mistakes. Now, the Brighton one is a human error. That's a human error because you went for the second to last man instead of the last man. Bad. How do you do that? But it's a human error. The Lee Mason one for Arsenal is gross negligence because you haven't even followed the protocol. You haven't even you decided that okay, he wasn't interfering with play, whatever, and then you just said, get on with it. It's like, no, you haven't drawn the lines. How have you decided that it was offside? What did you use? A ruler? A protractor? I'm confused at what he used to do that. But I don't think getting rid of VAR is the wrong solution. But one of the biggest issues, you mentioned Howard Webb, he came in straight away and said, basically, his use of VAR, not use VAR. We're going to basically not send the referees to the screen as much as possible. So not about getting the right decision, but it's about finding a way to keep the decision that the referee decides on the field as the right one. Since VAR and all technology was brought in, from the first time it was brought in, the Premier League has always made a point of trying to be different than Europe. We didn't have the screen send the referees to the screens before Europe did. We said the VAR would just tell them to change the decision in their ears, and then we did it later. And I think when it comes to offside, we need to get in the automated offside as soon as possible. As soon as possible, because I just think we're having too many situations just in this week, in this game week alone, where decisions are just being mismanaged because incompetent human beings. And I think that's the solution. But what I would say, sorry, Gal, is Arsenal fans who think, I'm glad you said that you don't think it's corruption, but there's Arsenal fans out there who, it's all against us. They don't want us to win the league. It's all against. But Man City are saying they're going to get deducted 100 points because of what they've done. So, like, we have to be balanced about this. There's bad referees, and bad referees make bad decisions. Everyone is affected. Arsenal have benefited from errors in VAR this season. The Leeds, when you went to Ellen Road, Liverpool, when Saka wasn't caught on the camera. So, as much as you've lost decisions, or lost games or points because of VAR, you've also gained points or gained goals or decisions because of VAR as well. And I just think, it's bad for everyone.
We'll talk about Arsenal when we get there, but I'm just going to say that this is my solution for a short-term fix. If they're not going to go over and walk over to the monitor, and we can't actually question their decisions on the pitch with players approaching them, there should be a flag system or some sort of thing similar to the NBA and NFL, where the manager can at one point say, can you take a second look at this? Because I feel like what my players are seeing and what we've seen from our angle might be different from what you've seen. And it's not overruling the referee. It's just, can you take another look at it? Because in-game decisions that are not being looked at are costing people points and costing people jobs and opportunities in the future because of these refereeing decisions. So maybe that could add a different element to the game that could benefit everyone.
Totally agree with that. Viewers, make sure you're hitting like and share buttons for us. We are going to move on to talking about Arsenal next and everything that's gone on. We've got some super chats first. I love this here. Terry, you are talking rubbish, respectfully. Rashford is in the box scoring headers and shots. Of course, he will have more goals. I mean, so what is your point, though? I don't know what I'm talking rubbish about. Yeah, I'm saying he's the most deadly striker in the world right now. Like, what? Are we now saying that we discount? This would be the maddest thing. I remember when Bruno Fernandes was scoring goals and it was like, well, penalties don't count. Are we now saying that Rashford's goals don't count because he's in the box and players that aren't in the box don't get the opportunity to score goals? Is he going to be the first attacker in history to have his goals ruled out as being real goals because he's in the box? I actually don't know what you mean by that, Enigma. I'm very sorry.
I think he's trying to say that it's not fair for you to compare two players who play two different roles, but I don't think your point was comparing them. I think your point was just stating that one has more goals than another. So I think he may have missed the point slightly.
Yeah,
I think the funny thing as well is if you go like ratio wise, Rashford scored out of Rashford's 12 goals in the Premier League, 2 of them have come from outside the box. I think out of Saka's 6 open play goals, 1 of them has come outside the box. So they both end up being like like 12% outside the box ratio, and the rest inside the box.
yeah.
So
I mean, and they both average about the same amount of touches in the box per game. I mean, even like shots per game. Bukayo Saka shots per game 2.4 from inside the box. Rashford 2.6 from inside the box. Like, you break it down, there ain't much difference. One's just a better finisher right now. It's as simple as that. And Saka's amazing. Here it says United are in the title race. Mad to think otherwise. If Arsenal come third, that's still progression. United are where Arsenal were a month ago. It is what it is what Andrew says here. Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate that super chat, my friend. Before we move on to speak about Arsenal viewers, I want to say a big shout out to our title sponsors today, NordVPN. As said in the intro, it is their 11th birthday. So we're giving away a nice prize, mystery prize, with everyone that signs up to their 2-year plan. You can do that by clicking on the link in the description or in the live comment section, or scanning the QR code that's pretty much above Neeks' head. You can kind of see it just like up there and trying to point towards it. Give it a scan. Of course, it's important to have a VPN provider. It's, public Wi-Fi is not safe. Wi-Fi in airports or in cafes when you're doing some work are not safe. They don't encrypt your data. Hackers and people are out there stealing bank details, personal details, and much, much more. What NordVPN allowed you to do is protect that data, hide your browsing history, hide your bank information, and protect all of your passwords from falling into the wrong hands. It's imperative you have it for that reason. Secondly, it's about accessing your content worldwide. As you all know, I'm a big fan of getting Premier League and Champions League football for as cheap as possible, and using my NordVPN provider, I'm able to get Setanta Sports from as little as $2.99 per month. And that allows me, by the way, that's cheaper than a cup of coffee nowadays. That allows me to get all my football wherever I am around the world, whether I'm in the States, whether I'm here in the UK. That includes 3pm games as well. So get NordVPN downloaded now, get signed up to it. And if anyone wants to know sort of how to, there's some real good perks, any workarounds, how to use it, drop me a DM. And we can go through that with each and every single one of you. But as I've mentioned, it is their birthday. So every purchase of their 2-year plan and above will receive an additional mystery gift on top if you use my exclusive link. So go and get yourselves clicking on that right about now. And stop the government, law agencies, and other prying eyes looking at all of your personal data. Now, someone who can't hide right now is Arsenal. Infertile plonker, Terry. Bro, I got 3 kids. That's the weirdest. That's the weirdest insult ever. Man's got 3 kids out here. Do you know what I mean? Arsenal did drop more points at the weekend, and the big question kind of circulating on socials is, and we're not going to go to Miguel first on this. I want to go to Patrick first on this one. Are Arsenal starting to crumble?
Ask me after Wednesday, because 2 games on the spin that the big one is Wednesday. So if they lose to City, then you will really, essentially they've collapsed, and they've blown, what was it, a 5-point lead at one point, possibly 6 or 7, maybe 8 with the game in hand. I thought they would beat Brentford at home. The game before that, I can't remember what it was. It was another game I didn't think they would drop points in. So they're starting to crumble. To say they've crumbled, maybe not yet. I didn't expect Arsenal to go through every game and win, or not drop points. That's crazy. City will also drop points, but the fact that they've dropped points back to back, City won their game and then they got City on Wednesday. Now we're going to see what they're made of. The 2 best teams going head to head, with Man City having that extra impetus. If we beat them, we go above them. We'll see what Arsenal are made of, man. We'll see what Arteta's made of. We'll see what these players are made of. I am seeing Arsenal fans, they're starting to crumble, if we're being honest. Maybe not the players, but the fans are starting to crumble, starting to get onto certain players like Martinelli. There's calls to drop him, certain calls to, get out of it. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm seeing a bit of a division on the socials between the Arsenal camp.
I've seen a little bit of that. I've seen a little bit of that, especially in terms of how to fix the Martinelli issue and things like that. What do you think, Neeks? Do you think it's too early to start? Like I've seen a lot of people doing the rivals, doing the "I told you so." This is the beginning of the end for Arsenal now. This is what we've all been waiting for. Lee Gunnar, I believe, is absolutely ecstatic with things right now. Like, do you think that, or is it like Patrick said, a little bit premature? Let's see what happens in this City game on Wednesday.
The season starts in April. All of this is just, a bit of foreplay, a little touching and feeling and seeing how each other are. But there's so much left of the season to go that Arsenal are favourites. Don't get it twisted. Arsenal are favourites, but both for the match, to be fair, and the title as it stands. And if they win, you're talking 6 points with a game in hand. You still have to play City again. They're massive favourites. But I think even if City win, I don't think you can rule Arsenal out because they'll still have a game in hand and they still have to play City again. There's a lot of games and a lot of competitions. Arsenal are still in Europa League. City still in the Champions League. City still in the FA Cup. So I just think it's a big game, and it might be a big game more mentally than actually like statistically. Yes, there's points on offer, but depending on how it goes, the damage it might do. I think if Arsenal do lose, points-wise, for me, they're still well in the title race, well in. But mentally, they may start to doubt themselves. That's the only thing. They may start to doubt themselves. City, I don't think will ever doubt themselves. They've done this before. They were 8 points behind Man United with 5 games to go in 2012. They were behind Liverpool, and they've caught Liverpool. They've had to hold off Liverpool, for example. So I don't think City will doubt themselves. Arsenal, if they lose this on the back of losing to City already, losing to Everton and drawing with Brentford, especially in the way they drew with Brentford, they might think the world's against them. And then if they lose to City at home, they may have a bit of doubt in their head. I wouldn't, even if they lose, if I was in the Arsenal camp, I wouldn't be telling them it's all doom and gloom. But with the young and inexperienced manager, the young inexperienced players, other than the likes of Zinchenko and Jesus, they could start to doubt themselves. This is a massive game for Arsenal, and because of the element, I think it's more important for Arsenal than it is for City. City can lose this game and still be confident that they can put together a run because they've done it before. Whether they do or not is another matter, but they can still think in their head, we've got it in us. If Arsenal lose this, they may think, yeah, guys, it was a good run while it lasted. So this is a big game for Arsenal, bigger game.
It certainly is. I mean, Gal, what's it like in the Arsenal community right now? Is there panic? Is there like some flip-flopping on title predictions? Is there kind of, I heard Martin Keown say today on TalkSport, no one in the Arsenal camps even spoke about winning the title. Top 4 was always the target, which I thought was a little bit of a backwards step in terms of things. Like, what's it been like in the Arsenal group chats and the Arsenal communities that you're part of?
Okay. There's well and truly 3 different minds, right? There's people who are saying that they never actually believed they were going to win the league and that they never really subscribed to this. They were just happy with the situation that they were in. Then there's the people who are very reactionary, are saying this is Newcastle all over again, and they're just throwing their toys at the Prem, scared shitless of the possibility of losing against Man City at home and then being level on points with them, as if we don't still have more of the season to play. And then there's the camp that I would say I subscribe to, which is I genuinely think that we still can win it, and I've always said that I feel like the opportunity we're in right now, we're going to capitalize on it and try our best to make sure we go for it. And I still believe we can do it. And obviously we need to beat Manchester City, but even if we don't beat Manchester City, we still would be level on points with them with the game in hand. It's not a situation where it's the end of the road and it's like there's only 2-3 more games left and they're ahead of us. It's not necessarily even close to similarity between Newcastle. I would say this is more of a situation like when I would say it's more similar to the Everton situation last season when we lost to Man United and Everton back to back. We went on from there and we went on a little run and then we had another blip at the end of the season. From here on out, we cannot have any more blips. We need to click into gear. And if we can stay level on point with City or ahead of them and Jesus comes back fit, I have enough confidence that we're going to go on and win this because Jesus has been a massive miss. So yeah, That's the situation in the current camp with the Arsenal fans. There's definitely people losing their minds. There's definitely people who are confident, and there's definitely people who are denying the title race to begin with.
It always ends up that way, doesn't it? When you're in that situation that you don't expect to be in, and then there's the worry that it might not come to fruition. That's all like, oh, it was never going to happen anyway. To let yourselves down gently. I mean, I think the biggest worry for Arsenal is if you lose against City and then they go ahead, even with that game in hand, which you'll have. It's the fact that in the space of about 2 weeks, the narrative has just went from one extreme to the other, in a sense that at one point you were 6 points clear. It was almost like you were walking to that title. City were in disarray. They couldn't do anything. And then in the space of 2 weeks, it's gone to City have just suddenly clicked into gear, and Arsenal are in disarray. They're dropping points here and there. They don't look the same team. That sudden mentality shift and that sudden narrative shift is what I think could be the only thing that unsettles you. If you can get through that and bounce back from that, you'll be fine. Because even though City won again yesterday, I still weren't fully convinced. And I do still think Arsenal are more consistent than City. And if you can if this blip, whatever it is, doesn't last too much longer, you'll be fine.
You know what it is also? You City fans as Nubbins and yourself as a Liverpool fan, and even you Man United fans will know in a title race or whenever you have a situation where you're going up against a team, there's going to be hiccups. It seems like the first couple of hiccups, people are already like starting to get scared. You're gonna need a level of cojones to be able to last the whole season. Some guys, let's be honest.
I mean, I figured that Arsenal fans were getting a bit jittery a few weeks ago. And it's expected because you're in a situation where you haven't been for so long. You know, obviously the last title race you were in was the Leicester one, but in terms of being ahead in the title race, we're going back 2008. Yeah, 2008 we were ahead in the title race around the February period. So I understand it. People are, a bit nervous. You just need to get through this game. If you get through this game unscathed, then I think as a team, you can say, all right, guys, yeah, it got tough, but we still got this gap. Yeah, we dropped points because you lost to Everton and they lost to Spurs straight away. In this last 2 weeks where you've lost a few games in different competitions, they've only closed the gap by 2 points and you still got that game in hand. So if you can get out of this game, maybe your next game is not until April against them, then I think, it'll put you in a good position. But the nerves are there. I can feel it.
I think
win 6 points clear.
Well, this is the thing. I think this is why I agree with Patrick. I think this game against City is really important, and it kind of brings us nicely into it. And Nobbins, I thought it was a good performance against Villa yesterday. And once you got that third goal, it was cruise control. You were getting balls into Haaland early, which you haven't been doing recently. There was definitely a reaction to the charges, I felt, from the players especially. How confident are you coming down to the Emirates Wednesday night in this huge game?
It's a tricky one, to be honest. Just to touch on the whole Arsenal are the crumbling situation. This Arsenal side was always going to experience a slip at some point. This Arsenal, not trying to disrespect this Arsenal team, but if this Arsenal team wins the Premier League, it would be the worst Arsenal team to win the Premier League in terms of the quality of the players. So that's not an insult.
That is a diss.
No, I'm just making the point that this isn't like Klopp's Liverpool in like 2020, and this isn't like the Centurion City. There was always going to be a slip at some point. I genuinely wasn't supposed to be an insult. And it's. No, right, okay, just touch on that. Like, I'm not wrong though, am I? Like, come on. Like, you're not going to tell me
it's the worst Arsenal side to win it.
No, but you're not going to tell me Nketiah and Jesus are better than Ian Wright and Dennis Bergkamp, are you? Like, come on. Like, I'm not wrong.
They're up there.
Oh, come on.
Look at my face.
We're not about to compare Granit Xhaka to Patrick Vieira or Keane Ramsdale to David Seaman. Come on, like, we're not doing this. Anyway, sorry, I got distracted by your girl's face then. Right, so as I was saying, this Arsenal side does not have the sort of imperious nature to it that, as I say, like the Centurion City, etc. had. So there was always going to be a slip, and what was always interesting was going to be the reaction to that slip. And this is the perfect stage upon which Arsenal can decide how are they going to react. We've had the slip now, the loss against Everton, draw against Brentford in tricky games on paper, and now you've got a really big challenge, your title rival at home. How are you going to react? And that I think I will be telling for the title race. And I do think it will basically come down to 2 games between City and Arsenal. I think if City lose against Arsenal on Wednesday, in my opinion, that's the title race over in my head, because Arsenal will be, assuming Arsenal win the game in hand, they'll be 9 points clear. And I can't see, I could see City beating them at the Etihad, but I can't see a 6-point gap being made up. I can't see Arsenal dropping 6 points more than City. If City win,
your favourites.
Well, they'll still have a game in hand, and they still will be 3 points clear. A draw, I would accept as a result, because I think.
Well, remember, if you win, it's in your hands. Obviously, it's still in their hands, but you got them at home after that.
Absolutely, yeah. So, I think a win, or I'd accept a draw. That'd be fine. I think City could make that gap up. A win, obviously. A loss, I really don't think they could. So I don't know how I'm feeling, to be honest. City have been playing better recently. Maybe they're catching Arsenal at a good time with this, slip up. But I'm edging more towards a draw. I think this will be a draw on Wednesday.
Let me ask
Nobbins, can I ask Nobbins a quick question? With the whole Haaland being injured, do you feel that's actually a blessing in disguise? Because I see a lot of City fans saying this actually works in our favour because we play more cohesively without Haaland. Or are you annoyed that obviously your top scorer might miss the game on Wednesday?
He trained today, by the way.
Yeah, so he isn't injured, thankfully. He had like a slight knock on his thigh, so Pep just took him off as a precaution, and he did train today. So that's absolutely fine. Just to touch on your question about some people saying that like it's a blessing or not. I've been a very notorious defender of Haaland on this channel, and the issues at City are present if Haaland plays, and the issues are there if he doesn't play. I'd much rather have someone who scored 31 goals in all competitions this season on the pitch than not.
I'm just gonna say this: when it comes to the whole situation with Arsenal, it's not the best Arsenal side. Yeah, it's not the best Arsenal side based on the nostalgia and the history of obviously the players that we've had. But when it comes down to the City team, it's not the best City team we've seen either. They're actually slipping a lot more than they have over the last couple of years. And I've even had a City fan tell me that this is the worst City side you guys have had in like a near 5 years, 6 years.
It's the worst City side since Pep's first year. 100%.
Yeah, fair enough. So when it comes down to it, I'm not too concerned about City in the sense that if they come to our house, I'm not too concerned. Same way I was not too concerned against Brentford, but Brentford put in a massive performance. So obviously you never know. But the last time we played each other at the Etihad was not a good example of what I'm expecting in this next game. I'm expecting this game to be a lot more open, like it was in last time we met last year. Hopefully, we just don't make a dumb mistake and give away a penalty and a red card, because that ruined the game last year. And if we do win, Nubbins, this game, do you think if you guys win, or even if you guys get a draw, you guys are back in the as favorites or favorites to win it? But if we win, do you think you guys can come back from it, or do you think? Because I don't really see too many tough fixtures from now until the end of the season. You guys pretty much only play Liverpool, Arsenal.
All fixtures are tough again, man. All fixtures are tough, especially the title running.
If Arsenal win,
you just got beat by Tottenham as an example. Anyone can beat anyone, bro.
If Arsenal win on Wednesday, in my head, that's game over, and I'll just basically concede Arsenal have won the title. To be honest, because as I say, I can't. Even if City win at the Etihad, I can't see Arsenal dropping 6 more points than City would drop, because City aren't going to go on a run of winning every single game from now to the end of the season. City will also drop points, so I can't see Arsenal dropping 6 more than City.
And do you think
is Saka still going to be in Sake's pocket, or is he going to play in that game?
One second. Is there any point do you see Arsenal beating you at your house, or do you think that's just not realistic?
No, that definitely could happen. But I think that I'd love it to be sort of similar to when it was the 18-19 season, when it was City against Liverpool, and City had to win. I think Liverpool were in the lead and City had to win to go ahead of them. So and City showed their mettle and they won. It was a brilliant game, 2-1. So I can see that sort of situation happening if they're like within 3 points. But if it's like Arsenal have already won, then it might be like a formality for Arsenal.
In terms of the game, how's it going to go? Like we don't always do this enough. Probably on the we do a lot of this on the reaction shows that we talk about what happened. But who's going to attack? Are both going to attack? Is that going to play into Arsenal's hands more? How is this game going to be played by both sides? What are you thinking, Neeks? How should I'll ask you the question from an Arsenal point. How do you think Arsenal should approach it?
Well, firstly, they might have to make sure they got 11 players out there. So Saka needs to turn up. No hiding. No, I mean,
Wow.
no hiding in Ake's pocket. That's no safe space. Got to turn up at the
Saka's
Emirates.
a big game player, bro. Scored
I'm
against
just
every
saying,
top
the
6
last
team.
big game against Man City, he was hiding in Ake's
That was
pocket.
the FA Cup
It
game
must
and heavy rotation.
It must have been warm. But he was there. He was enjoying himself, very comfortable.
How
But
did
it
he
was-
do against United, by the way?
Can I answer the question?
No. You last big game in the Premier League. How do you do against United?
His last big game. You are in a title race. Don't focus on us.
Yeah, and we
minnows
got
in
3
third.
points at home against United.
You
and
are
he-
in a
and he-
title race. Don't
Listen,
focus on us top 4 dwindlers. Forget us.
Don't forget.
Forget about that.
Don't forget.
Rashford scored the best goal of that game. That game was pretty.
Didn't get 3 points.
Can I answer the question?
You cannot egg me on and just expect that I don't reply.
I'm not talking about Saka, not you. No, you know what?
If you want to dead it, you can dead it.
Yeah, the game was pretty even. It's nearly at 50-odd% possession. Arsenal were definitely better in the first half, and Man City were better in the second half. Pep's formation is going to be very interesting in terms of the way that Arsenal can get at them, because if they go with a 3 at the back, and I don't think Lewis is going to come back in. As good as Lewis has been, I think they're going to go with some experience, and Arsenal are going to find it difficult to break them down because of the experience of the Laporte and Diaz, who got a 45-minute rest after the weekend. But Arsenal, first and foremost, I think Martinelli has to be dropped. And I'm not saying he's not good. I just think he ain't been playing good since the World Cup. He was good in the World Cup, actually, impact off the bench. So I think coming off the bench, he might make a good impact. Trossard made a good impact off the bench. But I do think Trossard probably needs to start. The rest of the team stays the same. I know there was talk about maybe Tomiyasu for Ben White. I think Grealish ain't Rashford. And that Rashford Ben White's number. And he had to get hooked up at half-time. Grealish is good, but he's not Rashford in the way that he's going to, I think, destroy. He ain't going to jink in and out of Ben White in that kind of way. So I think they can keep the rest of the team the same. But being at home, I expect Arsenal to try and take the initiative from the first minute. They have to. I think it's going to be pretty 50-50 when it comes to possession. And Arsenal need to take their chances. If Arsenal end up in a pinball game like they were against us in the first half at Emirates, Man City win the game. They can't. They have to be a bit more controlled. They have to try and push City back onto the edge of the area as much as they can and take their chances. But it's gonna be a close game. Arsenal got a chance. They're at home. The crowd will be there. North London forever and all that stuff. So, But 10 men on the field, Man City win. If Saka's out there, they got a chance.
And are you confident, Igal? Like, are you confident to go up against this City team, go 6 points clear with a game in hand? How are you feeling? Do you think you were gonna do it?
We're gonna see Arsenal back at their scintillating best, based on the fact that we're gonna get a City team that's not gonna play the same way that Everton did or Brentford did. We're gonna play football with us, and that's why at home you play football with us. Even being as good as City, I believe we're going to have enough to take it to them. And I think, Neeks, I disagree with you. You know where you said if it's a back and forth game, what do you consider a back and forth game? I'm not saying it's going to be a 1-0. I think it's going to be there's going to be at least 3 goals in this game. And I think Arsenal's the one that's going to come up top and get that winner. I honestly do believe that City are a good team, but when it comes down to it, they have been vulnerable this season. And I think Mikel Arteta knows them as well as anybody else, and he didn't want to play all his cards in that FA Cup game. They won that FA Cup game, and it was a very, very cagey game. I believe this game is going to be similar, but but City, even if they do score, we're going to have enough, because I think they're going to give us the opportunities based on the fact that they're going to be so attacking, and we can catch them.
The reason why I say the back and forth is that they've got Haaland. You can't give him a chance. Like he hasn't had any real chances in these big games.
Honestly, if I'm intrigued to see what City are going to do. City need to take a little bit of a leaf out of Brentford's book. They won't be as low, but just some early balls over the top for Haaland to run onto, because I do think expose Haaland to Saliba in one-on-ones, Haaland's going to cook him. And
No,
that's
but
just
Terry,
because Haaland's a beast. So it's going to be very intriguing to see how. I think Arsenal have got their defensive line can't be too high. They've got to guard against early balls over the top for Haaland. Even if they're not through on goal and he's running into channels, it's going to drag your defense open. They need to be really careful when it comes to that. They really do.
no, but Terry, a big difference is they're also going to press us. It's not the last couple games we haven't had anyone press us, so we haven't really been able to, like, just wait for the press to start our attacks. Against City, I know they have a relentless press, but it's like we are built to play against City. Arsenal, the whole way we're built to play against teams that have quality. When we play against teams with lesser quality, we need to get them early in the game and then coast the rest of the game. Against City, we can play the way that we play for 90 minutes and not be as worried that they're going to just sit down and just put a low block for the rest of the game.
Are you less worried? So essentially what I'm hearing, I don't want to paraphrase or word, you are less scared of a Man City than you are of a Brentford.
No, it's not necessarily less scared. It's I'm more confident that our play style would get more opportunities from a City than we would against a team that's whole focus is to not play offensively and just to defend against us for 90 minutes.
Okay, no, I hear you. Yeah, I mean,
I think that the thing is, though, Miguel, I would agree with you if Manchester City played the way Manchester City have played for the past 5 years. But watching that Aston Villa game, at times they done what Terry said. They were trying to play lots of balls in behind to Haaland, which is very different from what we've seen. They're actually trying to get him in positions close to the goal, and I think that's got to be the worry. I think City, Arsenal are always going to cause problems, and I think there's a really interesting matchup if he goes with Kyle Walker again at right centre back or whatever it is in this weird 3-2-4-1. Because I thought Kyle Walker actually really struggled against Villa in that first half, but Ollie Watkins is just useless. If it's Trossard up against Kyle Walker, I think he'll cause a lot more problems. But in the same breath, this City team with the last man runs from Gundogan and De Bruyne, but also now having the capability and now having the reason to play these balls in behind for Haaland, like they've done a little bit more against Aston Villa, that's going to cause you more problems, because I don't see how you're going to stop the balls in behind and then the second man runs at the same time, because I don't think you're set up for that. I think the only way you set up for that is to sit deep and invite it on so that you cut off one of them avenues, and I don't think you do that.
it's certainly going to be an interesting one. Score prediction-wise, what you going with, Patrick?
Sorry, I was on mute. I don't know, man. Honestly, it's going to be intriguing to see how Arsenal come out. If Arsenal try and play City back to back, like a lot of you lot are saying, they're going to get cooked. Personally, I don't know. City to win 3-1.
Wow.
Nobbins. No, leave Nobbins till last. Tom?
It's at the Emirates, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
1-1.
1-1. Neeks.
Yeah, I was thinking 1-1. I was thinking 1-1. I thought we would have got a higher scoring game in the FA Cup game, and we didn't. I'm gonna go 1-1. I think it's early in the season, so neither team's gonna go out there gung ho. We have to win, or and it might come minutes to go, where they're just like, you know what, let's just take this, and I think both of them might take it. So I'll go 1-1.
Nobbins, the away team. What are you saying?
I'm going to give two predictions because it totally depends on what Pep does with his team. If he plays Diaz and Laporte and Walker and the rest of the standard cast, I think City win, and I will go 2-0 City. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to play Akanji, who is not as good at ball playing or as aggressive as Diaz. And I don't think we'll play in the direct way that I want us to play, like we did against Villa in the first half. So, based on what I think Pep's going to set out his team as, I think Pep's going to try to avoid defeat more than anything else. I think that'll be a bad decision. And I think Arsenal will win 1-0.
Igal, what is your score prediction, young man?
As I already said, unlike Brentford and Everton, we're not going to get a team that's playing a low block. They're going to like to press us. We're going to find ourselves in good opportunities, and it's just going to be on us to finish it. I think we do finish against City, and we're going to get ourselves a 2-1 victory at the Emirates in front of our home fans, and this will be a statement victory for everyone, hopefully, to wake up.
Okay, my prediction will be out on my personal preview coming out tomorrow. I'm not going to burn the content, so you're going to wait for that. It'll be out tomorrow morning. So keep your eyes out for that, ladies and gentlemen. Keep hitting like and share buttons. Make sure you're signing up to NordVPN today. It is their 11th birthday. So when you sign up to a very cheap 2-year plan from as little as literally the cost of a cup of coffee per month, 1 cup of coffee per month, you will get a free mystery gift as a thank you from Nord for signing up on their 11th birthday. There are some other big games to get some predictions in for now. Viewers, stay with us because I want your score predictions. There's Champions League, Europa League, and of course the Merseyside derby tonight. We're not going to delve too much into it because we spoke about it a lot on Friday. But predictions for tonight, what are we going with, Neeks, in the Merseyside derby?
Oh, I hope Everton honk them. Oh my God, I want the tears. I want the tears. Oh, you don't understand. Liverpool in the mud is more beautiful than I ever imagined. Like, I thought it was good with Hodgson. I thought it was, but this is even sweeter because Klopp told us this team is good enough to win the league. I've got the best centre back, the best right back, best left back, best. Spent 180 million in the transfer windows on forwards, and here they are sinking without a trace. I hope Everton win. And when I say tonk, I'm talking a 1-0 tonk. I'll take it. I don't care. I'm going 1-0 Everton.
1-0 Everton. Igal?
I'm just going to keep it simple. Everton haven't beaten Liverpool ever at Anfield, I don't think, if I'm not mistaken.
1999. That was the last
Since
time.
1999. It's
Couple
going to
years
be
ago, wasn't it?
difficult.
Well, with fans. I'm on about with fans.
Yeah, with fans. They beat them in 2001.
with fans.
Yeah.
That's all I've got to cling on to now, Nobbins.
So
That's
that is
fair.
going to end tonight, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to win 1-0.
1-0. Pat?
Yeah, Everton to win 1-0. Sean Dyche, masterclass. And I think Joe Gomez is going to get sent off as well.
Why?
Yeah, he's too much twerking. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, too much.
Tonight he's going to twerk on Sean Dyche on the sideline and get sent off. That's what he's going to do. He's going to lose his mind. Nobbin, what are you thinking, bro?
I think I said 1-1 last time. We did a prediction for this one, so I'll stick with that. 1-1. Everton will score first, and then Liverpool will get a cheeky equaliser in like the 85th.
Okay. Little Tommy.
I said 1-11 last time, and the corner scared the life out of me. Connor Cody, Tarkowski, Onana, and I don't even know who our midfield is now. Thiago is out of the game. He's now injured officially. No more. So we're down to what I can only assume will be a midfield three of Bajcetic, Henderson, and Milner is what I assume we're going to go with. And that up against Onana, Decore, and Idrissa Gana Gay. Yeah, nah. 2-0 Everton.
Oh shit! 2-0.
We aren't scoring goals. We are not going to score against them because we're just going to try and cross it.
Tom, can I ask you a quick question? Who can you rely on in this Liverpool team?
No one. No, Alisson.
When's Luis Diaz back?
That's it. That's literally it.
I think back in the March, start of April.
Okay.
The only good thing about today is Diogo Jota's back, so we could lose 5-0. But if he gets 10 minutes on the football pitch, oh my God, I'm running around like it's a goal. Yeah.
I'm going to go the same prediction as you, Tom. I think I might have changed mine since Friday. I'm going to go 2-0 Everton on tonight's game. We will come back to your super chats very soon, people from earlier on. Don't worry about that. But Champions League predictions, we'll go through these fairly swiftly. AC Milan, Tottenham. What you saying, Patrick?
Even though AC Milan aren't playing well, I'm scared because it's like we'll be the remedy they need, especially after the performance and the injuries that we go into this game with. Keep it tight. Hopefully, if we do lose, I'm rambling on. 1-0 AC Milan, but then we beat them when they come back to our ground, White Hart Lane.
Nobbins?
2-0 Spurs because AC Milan stink.
Tommy?
Everything points to a Tottenham win, but I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw because Olivier Giroud, he's got that hatred for Tottenham. He'll just pop up with a late goal.
I hear that. Gal?
Tottenham are actually undefeated versus AC Milan in their last 4 games, so that's not going to stop. I think AC Milan's going to lose to Tottenham 1-0, and that's just what they need, and then they're going to lose their Premier League game after that.
Hey, Neeks?
I'm going 2-2. Yeah, 2-2. There's no away goals anymore, is there? Yeah, it's 2-2.
No. Yeah, I'm actually gonna go with 2-1 Spurs. I think Spurs will do it. I think Spurs will win. Prem superior to the Serie A. Sorry to say it to my Italian viewers watching. I'll start the next one. Dortmund, Chelsea. I'm gonna go 1-0 Chelsea. Chelsea to win away from home at Dortmund.
Away.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Chelsea to win 1-0 away from home.
I'm gonna go 2-1 Dortmund.
Igal?
1-1 draw. I don't think either team are gonna get the better of each other.
Okay. Tom?
I'm going to go 3-1 Dortmund on the basis that Thiago Silva is due a little knock. So I'm assuming it'll come in this game, and they don't have Badiashile registered in the Champions League squad. So it's Kalidou Koulibaly, the calamity at the back. So that's just a mistake waiting to happen. So I could see Dortmund and future Manchester City player Jude Bellingham bagging.
Okay. Nobbins?
Yeah, I'm going to copy Tom. 3-1 Dortmund. I also think that there's something like Dortmund are like limited in their attendance to like 60,000 or something, but for this match they've been permitted to take like 80,000 in the stadium, so it's going to be rocking. The Yellow Wall are going to win 3-1. Sorry.
Nice. Patty, what are you going to go with the old Chelsea boys?
2-0 Dortmund.
2-0 Dortmund. I get that. One thing, by the way, I know it's completely out there. Did you all see the video of the Chelsea fan getting sparked out? I'm not going to lie. The first time I saw it, I thought it was a little bit of a cheap shot because he was having a go at one guy come from the side. Then it turned, when you watch it from the other angle, you're like, nah, actually. The funniest bit is that he then filmed the video of himself, him in the hospital. His girlfriend's got his head in his shoulder, and his mum's going, I don't know what his name was, Ben, whatever. It ain't funny. Stop laughing about. I was like, oh my days. Yeah, man got sparked. It was funny. Next predictions. I'll start with Patrick on this one. I'll go in reverse order again. Barcelona versus Manchester United.
You know what? This is a good one. I heard something crazy that they've only conceded 7 goals, and I was shocked at that. But then Man United are in really good form.
Crazy.
1-1. Tough game.
I'll take that.
Take that. Nobby. Biggest European game of the week. Barca Man United.
Yeah, classic Thursday night football. Doesn't get any bigger than that. I'm going to say that I don't think Ter Stegen's got some mad clean sheet record in La Liga. Barcelona are currently cruising La Liga as well. By far the best team in the division this season. I'm going to say Barca win. It's a cagey game, 1-0.
Tom?
Because I watched Villarreal Barca last night and they weren't very good, but they got the win. So I assume just something like that will happen again. It'll be like 2-1 or 1-0, something like that. A tight game where Barca just nick it.
Igal?
I want to be petty and say 3-0 Barcelona, but the reality is it's going to be closer than that. And Manchester United are built well to play against them. So it's going to be a tight 2-1 to Barcelona.
Neeks, what you saying, bro?
It's going to be difficult. Very, very difficult. You said they've only conceded 7 goals in La Liga this season. That's a war. 1 every 3? Yeah, I think about 21 games played or so. So that's crazy. Pedri's on some crazy form right now. It's at the new camp. That pitch is huge as well. So it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult. Listen, if we get out of a 2-1 defeat, I'll take it. So I'll go 2-1 Barca and then hopefully we can do something. Casemiro's going to be there. No Martinez, which might be tricky, but I'll go 2-1 Barca.
Yeah, listen, I was looking at their record last night. They drew back on New Year's Eve with Espanyol, and then they lost in The last time they lost was 3-1 against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu back in mid-October, and they drew the opening day of the season in La Liga. Obviously, their European form, though, was awful. They had 3 defeats in the Champions League and a draw. So the hope is that they've got that for some reason it isn't translating to Europe, and United can go there and punish them. But Man United also have a terrible, terrible record in Spain. Like, we legitimately have an awful record in Spain. I'll take a draw, but I do think Barca will beat us, and I'm going to go 2-1 to Barcelona. Like, I do think they'll beat us on the night. But the hope is we're not out of sight. I think if we can be within a goal, going back to Old Trafford, there's always a chance of doing that under the floodlights. Whether it's the Europa League or Champions League, United Barcelona is massive, and it'll be a raucous atmosphere. So there's hoping on that one. Some super chat. Go on, mate, go on.
I just wanted to say, Nix, on what you said, 6 goals in the leagues is hot form?
They've conceded 7 goals this season.
No, I'm talking about Pedri, because I'm saying the Pedri.
Oh, but yeah, he's a midfielder. He's a midfielder. Right now, he's
Madison's
balling.
a midfielder. He's doing the same thing.
No, so who's a midfielder?
Madison's a midfielder. Odegaard's a midfielder. They're doing the same thing.
We're talking about Odegaard as player of the year. Like,
yeah, but we're praising both of them for being in form and having good seasons.
Odegaard's probably the best player in the Premier League this year.
How have you made a Barcelona United prediction about Arsenal? That's quite impressive.
I do this all the time.
Pedri is cold.
My whole point is, I feel like the Pedri PR is crazy, and the guy's doing well. He's young, he's very good, but it's just like he's getting put in conversations as he's the best in his position in the world, and I just feel like that's not.
Well, he won the goal. He won the Golden Boy or Golden Ball, whatever. Probably both of them. I can't remember where he ranked in the Ballon d'Or. I know he won the Euros, best young player. Like, the credit that he's getting is deserved. He's performing. I mean, listen, I hope he don't perform on Thursday, but I expect him to.
So McTominay might be back. It'll be grand.
Oh, well.
Some super chats here. First one says 2-1 Liverpool, 3-0 AC Milan, Madrid masterclass, Arsenal City 1-1, and Dortmund Chelsea 2-1 to Dortmund. Thank you there, honesty. Jorginho infected Arsenal with the Chelsea virus. That's funny. Bo, you guys all seen the most recent episode of The Last of Us?
I'll watch it.
I'll watch it.
You got to start watching it.
Yeah,
That
I haven't watched
wild.
it.
I got wild in the last episode. Jesus and Zinchenko know how to win the league, but Arteta is inexperienced and doesn't know how to win the league. Arteta has been there with Pep when City won the league. Thank you there, Natch. You're absolutely right. He doesn't know how to win the league. He's been there at teams that have done it. You're absolutely right. To me, this match is more about belief, more so than the 3 points itself. This group of players has never beat City at all. A win could be a lot. So, listen, I think you're right. I think the 3 points is the most important thing. You take a 3 point and 3 points and a bad performance. But if Arsenal could win this with a good performance and 3 points, I think what that does to City's morale, as Nobbins has kind of alluded to, and what it does for Arsenal's is massive. Let them banter us. The trophy will feel even nicer at the end of the season. A couple of minutes. Is it ready? Okay, I'll be out in a second. See in a minute. Dinner. But I got to look as well. Like, I want to eat it now before it goes cold. Plus, Gary Neville's on TV. Sorry, what did it say? Let the banter us. The trophy will feel even nicer at the end of the season because of all the haters. I hear you on that. We can judge Arsenal best after Wednesday, in my opinion. I think Chelsea boss and Patrick agree on that.
Yeah.
Gareth here says VAR decisions that involve lines drawn for offside should be controlled by a computer. Artificial intelligence, it wouldn't forget to do it. No, but I've seen Terminator. That can also get scary. I'll be honest with you. I like AI. Like, I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast the other day, and this guy was talking about some of the new artificial intelligence. I turned my phone off. And by the way, me and Jess did an experiment the other day. We do this in the mornings. We start talking about something we're not even interested in. We started talking about holidays and cruises. And then we wait, both of us, same day, at least 2 adverts each when watching YouTube videos. Cruises. Your phone 100% listens to you, 100%. Honestly, I'm not too worried about the result. This is, of course, Arsenal City. What did worry me, however, was the performance. Sorry about Brentford. That concerns me more than the draw itself. And I think a lot of Gooners agree with you there, Ibby, because a lot of people will start to park that bus. Look, boys, I want to say a massive thank you to all of you for coming on. I want to say thank you to NordVPN for sponsoring us today. Get yourself protected and signed up right now. I use it each and every single day, and it's brilliant to have. Trust me. If you ever get hacked, have your personal data stolen, ever get defrauded, trust me, you're going to wish you signed up to this. It costs very, very little per month, less than a cup of Costa coffee or Starbucks or any other brand of coffee, because they're in fairness, they're not 60p anymore, but they're still very, very cheap indeed. To all the viewers, thank you. The super chatters, thank you. We're live.
Hello.
Oh, 1 sec. Let me just, sorry, 1 sec. We're live after Liverpool versus Everton, so make sure you are tuning in for that. Yes, KJ.
Thank you everyone for the kind messages and love for me and my partner. She don't go on YouTube like that, you know what I mean? She's not on Twitter. She's on a little bit of Instagram, but like, so her seeing all of these kind messages from everyone is great to see, and you guys are wonderful. I love the TFT community. So yeah, thank you for the support. Just want to say thank you, because obviously not many people get the love that I get sometimes, you know. So I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you.
Love, bro. Love.
No worries. Absolutely. Congratulations. Oh, he's gone. And we'll see everybody again soon. Take care. Goodbye. God bless you.